So basically, yeah, we connected. I remember we connected several years ago. Um,
Yeah.
I remember you were a panelist in one of our events in Delhi. This is possibly 2 years ago. And I know you've been like very much into the tech scene for years with tech stars and stuff, right? And obviously, you've been a big ecosystem builder, right? And all of a sudden, you start posting, I'm gonna climb mountains, right? And then I'm gonna climb all these peaks. So that was a big surprising jump, doing from ecosystem development to start climbing all these peaks in Nepal, right? So if
Yeah.
you could talk a little bit about your journey through, Techstars, a ecosystem work you've been doing, and then that what led to the, climbing Annapurna and stuff.
Definitely, definitely. So, I mean, I was working with Techstars, from 2014 till end of 29, like kind of early 2020. Those 6 years, an incredible 6 years during Techstars. During my Techstars days in 2019, I also had a chance to go and trek to the Everest Base Camp. And then 6 years ago in 2013, I also went to Antarctic expedition. But my Techstars life got me very busy with, work and also with a lot of travel that accompanied my work. So I never really got a chance to prioritize my climbing and mountaineering, as a priority in life. But when COVID hit, that's where, I mean, things changed. Now I'm not traveling anymore. And that's where the shift happened. What, if I'm not traveling, what else can I do? And it, came very clearly to my mind. It's time to climb. It's time to start climbing now. You are away from people, you're away from a lot of humans. When you are climbing, you are in the mountains, so no COVID will gonna even hit you when you are away in the mountains. So really it just started, that in COVID I need to spend more time with nature, and that is just hitting you inside. What can I do to stay more relevant and, to find that meaning in life? And so, yeah, 2020, I started an expedition called Triple Pass Challenge where we crossed one state of India, Uttarakhand, to Himachal Pradesh through the mountains, through the mountainous route. So, and we crossed three high altitude Himalayan passes, and we reached Himachal Pradesh 21 days into the expedition. And I knew that this is where I belong. These are the mountains that I, find myself really connected with. And I learned so much about myself, people. For me, mountains has been my biggest teacher, but that expedition clearly laid out in front of me that, there is no any more doubt. So after coming back from that, I was very clear that now I want to do mountaineering course. I want to start climbing, 6,000 meters, 7,000 meter, slowly take my initial steps into this journey of climbing mountains, big mountains. So yeah, then I did my, couple of 6,000 meter peaks in Ladakh, and I started spending more time in mountains, working in the rest of the day from there. In the morning, I'm training in mountains. So I shifted my base once in, couple of months in Ladakh, and where at almost 3,500 meter, that becomes my training ground where I go and trek to 4,000 meters, pretty much every day, so that my body can get acclimatized. I'm always ready, anytime if I have to go and trek and, climb, I'm ready always. So that shift happened. And then yeah, I did my basic mountaineering course from the India's most premier institute, Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. Started doing more technical mountains, started doing 7,000 meter mountains. So that's how it really all started around COVID, 3 years into this, and I've become a kind of an enough credible mountaineer in the ecosystem. And those 3 years, I started doing a lot of peaks. Every year, I'm climbing at least three mountains.
Mm.
So giving that amount of time, and I was working with Seed Stars during that time, and I used to only take my holidays during my climbing. Rest, I'm all the time working. So I somehow was able to manage my climbing and work at the same time. And because mountaineering gets a lot of attention, and my work has always been around sustainable development goals, around technology, around entrepreneurship, helping entrepreneurs across emerging markets and worldwide. So
Mm.
I knew that I want my mountaineering also to resonate with something that's larger than myself, because mountaineering gets a lot of attention, and
Mm.
I wanted to divert that attention towards something that makes more sense to me, something that needs words attention. And for me, that was all about sustainable development goals in this decade of action from 2021 to 2030 is a global decade of action when the world, the leaders, the companies, individuals, everyone must come together, governments, must come together to help the world achieve the global goals. And
Yes.
for me, the cause was very clear that my work is all about it, my day to day personal and professional life. And so it all came together with climbing, and I started this initiative called Climbing for SDGs. So
Mm.
all my peaks started to, I started to dedicate this to different SDGs, and I was climbing Annapurna as my first 8,000 meter in this March and April. And I was supposed to climb four peaks in total this year in 2023. After Annapurna, I was supposed to go to Everest and Lhotse and Makalu. So this was my plan to start with the most difficult, most dangerous mountain on the planet, Mount Annapurna.
So
And
this is this the first time you do 8,000 meter peak
yes,
Annapurna? Okay, this is your first
yes,
try to an 8,000 meter peak, right?
indeed, absolutely. It was my
Yeah.
first 8,000 meter. And I wanted to always start with Annapurna because I know that
It's the
this is the
hardest,
most,
right? Yeah,
this is
it's
the
the hardest.
hardest. And I'm like, exactly. So I'm like, if I can do Annapurna, I can do any, I can climb any mountain, in life. And that's what literally happened now. And and now
Mm.
I can climb pretty much any mountain in life now after climbing this whole mountain of recovery and coming back, again in life. So yeah.
So
uh,
how long were you training before trying to do an Annapurna climb? How long?
I've always been training.
Mm.
So for mountains, the more time you spend in mountains, that's the best thing you can do to train.
Yeah.
So, trying to spend more times in mountains, at least 3 months in mountains,
Mm.
come back, go back, come back, go back. And so that became a very new normal for me, trying to spend as much as time I can in the mountains, in the high altitudes, so that body feels acclimatized, body feels ready to, accept the, just the mountain conditions, whether it's wind, whether it's cold, extreme freezing temperatures and environment. So the body gets used to handle extremities. And
Yes.
that's what I always used to train myself for. That, you know, training for the extremes.
Mm. And did you ever expect that you were be going to be climbing mountains and doing this project related with SDGs? Was that something that you were planning for a long time, or that kind of just came along as you were kind of, you know, yes, meeting more entrepreneurs, meeting more companies, and traveling more? How did that idea come about?
It's very simple, honestly, because the work I have been doing, I wanted my work and my personal, climbing adventures and mission to be aligned with something that resonates with me, what I'm, like what I have. like what is my voice, and my voice is always about SDGs and the entrepreneurship, and
Yeah.
tech. And that's something I wanted to make sure it's aligned with it.
Mm.
So it came very naturally as a, um, a like very came as very natural, progression to all the work that I was doing around SDGs. So climbing also aligned with it, that it became climbing for SDGs.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, what's interesting, just so people know, I was in Nepal and we were supposed to meet in India before April of last
Yeah,
year. And I messaged you basically when you were about to start your Annapurna climb or a week or two before, possibly, right? We messaged each other on
yeah,
LinkedIn, right? And so yeah, we couldn't connect because you were in the mountains, right? Because you were supposed to connect and actually do this when before your climb, right? And then basically I was in Pokhara and Nepal, the climbing news happen every day, right? So there's news every single day of what's happening in the mountains. So I was in Pokhara and then all of a sudden there's this news, some Indian climber uh, went missing. It was like, okay. But then immediately we start talking about it, right? And because I was in Pokhara, actually, not far. So,
yeah.
so yeah, basically I see on the news and then on LinkedIn that you went missing. I was like, wow, crazy. I was shocked because I 2 weeks before we messaged each other, right? And then, yeah, I saw on the news that somebody, well, people who don't know, you climb Annapurna and basically it was like 100-meter crevasse and you fell in the crevasse, right? And you were there for 2, 3 nights, 3 days, and another
3 nights,
rescue team. Yeah, they
3 days, 3 nights. Yeah,
managed to rescue you, and you were still alive. And they flew you over to well, Nepal first, and then India, right? So it kind of all happened very fast, but it was kind of miraculous at the same time. So, can you a little bit, just I mean, you can. I know it's like it was a big experience. There's a lot of learnings and you went through a lot, but just out of all that you went through, what would be the important thing that you like to share about your experience climbing and going through that?
I mean, there are a lot of things, there is not
Yes.
one thing. So anything, I would love to ask more. If you have any specific question that I can elaborate on, I think that'll be easier for me to answer. Because otherwise, generally speaking, there is just too much, it can be overwhelming for audience, for anyone who's listening.
Okay, so
What part of
specifically,
the
yeah,
story?
specifically, like the accident happened because you think it was literally an accident, or it could be prevented. That would be question number one. Question number two: do you remember anything, or you just woke up and all of a sudden you were in a bed? And three, uh, kind of what was the most like out of after you woke up and you were in the hospital? What were kind of your first thoughts that came to mind, and what were the things that you were focusing on, just few days after waking up?
Great question. So yeah, I think it's an interesting question. Um, let me try to answer it. So the first question, that if this could have been prevented, yes, this could have been prevented. So the mistake that I made was, while descending down between Camp 3 and Camp 2, the most dangerous and avalanche prone area of Annapurna. Almost I was about to reach, Camp 2, but just before that it happened, because I was rappelling down, I was coming down while descending, and I picked up a shorter, wrong rope. The other end of the rope was not there, fixed. It was a much shorter rope. So basically, when I'm descending down, the rope is finished. So the straight you can do is you fall down. There is no other end of the rope. If I would have picked up the right rope, I would have rappelled down till the bottom of the, that cliff, and of the, uh, yeah. But because I was able to, pick up the wrong rope, I fall straight, roll down, inside the crevasse. I think it was a 300 or 250-meter fall, and then 80-meter inside the crevasse.
Wow.
And this could have been prevented if the rope fixing team on the Annapurna would have removed that old broken rope
Wow.
from the mountain, so that
Yeah.
I would have only picked the right rope that I should have been naturally picking,
I see.
because this happened with me, this could have happened to anyone else also. So the first thing that could have prevented this, that there should not be any such ropes which are broken, which are unrepaired, which can potentially harm anyone who is climbing or descending down on a mountain.
Yeah.
So, and then after falling down, I don't remember anything right now. Uh, I have no memory. The first memory after this incident is that I woke up in the hospital 10 days later, and the nurses, the sisters were dressing my wounds. And that's the first memory I have after this incident. But I don't remember anything that happened in between. Though I was conscious during all the 3 days inside the crevasse, but I don't remember anything. I have made videos in my GoPro, and I've watched all of them. So that kind of tells this to me that I was awake, conscious, trying to seek help, trying whatever I can do, to make sense of that situation, to come back, to ask for help so that someone could come and rescue me and, listen to my voice. And so I tried all of those, but yeah, and then the fourth day, on 20th of April, uh, Adam Bileski from Mariusz Atala from Poland, along with five Sherpas from Nepal, they came and they rescued me. They were there to recover my body. They were not there to rescue. They were there to take my body, because no one in the history of mountaineering world, as I have been told, has, stayed alive this long inside a crevasse for 3 days. So the ideal situation was they were there to pick up the dead body so that my parents can find a closure, the family can find a closure. And But then they saw me alive there, that I was
Wow.
breathing, I had a movement in my eyes, and I was moving, my hand was moving, or whatever, some of the body part. So that's what turned it into a rescue mission from a recovery mission. And then I was taken airlifted to Pokhara, where I've been given 4 hours of CPR. And Then after that, once I got some stability, I was quickly airlifted to Kathmandu, where I was treated for 21 days. And then after Kathmandu, I was airlifted to India and AIMS in Delhi for 6 months. Where That's where I stayed there, and all my rest of the surgeries and operations happened there. And now I'm back home with my family.
Okay. Interesting. So the other thing is, once you woke up after the accident happened, what was kind of the first thoughts coming to your mind? Like, what was the story that you told yourself of how were you feeling after waking up? Was this is an interesting part I'm very curious about.
I mean, I knew that something has happened. My brain was not very active during those days. So I don't have a lot of memories, clear memories, or completely, I'm not able to remember everything. But what I knew during that time, that, you know, that something has happened to me in Annapurna, and that has led me to the hospital bed in Kathmandu. And So yeah, I mean, then much later I had full clarity on this entire picture. Once I got my phone much later, I think maybe in June, maybe 2 months
Wow.
later, or 2.5 months later, I got my phone from, my brother used to show me, and so that's how I know eventually that all of this has happened. Then I saw the video. I think I may have seen my first time the video in the crevasse in the month of July. okay, this is what actually happened. That I, started reading about it in July and August on internet. Okay, okay, that's how I learned all of this story.
Wow.
I've learned only through internet all of these things and through people, through conversations. But I don't remember anything myself.
Wow. Interesting. I didn't think it was like just like a blank space and then you start kind of filling in those blanks and kind of filling up the whole story about what actually happened, right? Yes, it's interesting
Yeah,
how the brain works. It's like just it doesn't have time to kind of recollect anything, just pure raw survival, I guess, right? And then by the time you stabilize, I guess your memory starts kind of connecting or right?
yeah,
Interesting.
yes. Yeah, I
So,
mean, because, the body has gone through so much of trauma. The body recovers at its own pace. It slowly heals. It allows you, when you are ready, to remember a lot of these things. Body and mind works very mysteriously. It won't let you touch those aspects of trauma when you are not ready to experience it. It
mm,
only opens up that kind of information when you are ready to kind of, uh, e- absorb that.
mm, fascinating. So now, basically, 6 months later, what's your current status? As in, let's talk about first your body, and then talk about recovery, and then your projects.
Yeah. Um, I think the projects part is the easiest right now, because I'm not working. I'm on a kind of a sabbatical and not doing pretty much anything. So that's on hold. Body is recovering. It'll take its time to recover fully and heal the wounds. I have, almost 50% of my body is reconstructed. It's a new
Wow.
skin, grafted skin on my, body from taken from my body only. And so yeah, just
This is from
healing. I also
frostbite, right? Because of
frostbite,
frostbite.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and also undergone couple of amputations in my fingers and toes and my right
Mm.
hand and toes, and so yeah, I mean all of this has is now my new normal. And uh, and then what was the second question?
Oh, the second question is like, yeah, in terms of your body and recovery, and then so what's like medium term? I guess your focus right now it's recovery, and then or on the sidelines work on some projects. So what's your yeah your current
Yeah,
plan now?
so I mean I have to continue focusing on getting my strength back, then I can come back to normalcy in life. I can do all my things myself, which I'm still a dependent, on my parents and family. And so I have to get back to that normalcy as soon as I can. And apart from that, I'm undergoing continuously physiotherapy for at least 6 months or even more, depends on where how, it moves. And in terms of projects, maybe in future, I may start working part-time, I don't know, full-time right now, but maybe part-time to keep myself busy and also to stay more meaningful and impactful, in this new life. And in terms of projects and all, I have not thought a lot about it, but main thing that I want to spend time in this year is also, writing my book to tell the story to the world. That's something I'll be definitely focusing on. And rest other things, it will evolve with time. Only with time I will know what I'll be doing and what I won't be doing. Maybe I may have to reinvent myself fully. The kind of things I was doing, I may not be able to do that because of my amputations. I may have to operate little differently than others. I have to find new ways of doing business. I have to, stay more relevant and meaningful to the external world. So I don't know how will that look like, but I will figure it out with time.
Interesting. So okay, so one of the last questions I wanted to ask you. So obviously there's a lot of you went through a lot, obviously, right? But if there's kind of some of the key lessons learned that you discovered through going through all of this, what would those be?
I mean, accept your reality, accept your new reality as soon as you can, at the earliest, so that you don't keep yourself in dark. The sooner you accept your reality, you have a way to move forward. You have a way that you can look forward to. You can acknowledge what you have gone through, and then you can rebuild yourself from there. Otherwise, you can continue to live in denial and not move forward. And that's something I don't want to do. So I accepted my amputations, I accepted my new reality. It helped me move forward in life. If I would not have accepted, that was the most difficult decision. But once I accepted it, life became much easier, that okay, now I need to relearn everything, and but I will be able to do that. But if I wouldn't have accepted that, I wouldn't have been able to move forward. So that's one thing. And then I always say this, that, we all get one life to live. Pretty much live every moment you have, because not everyone is as lucky as I am to get a second chance to live.
Right.
So live whatever you need to live, you know, follow your passion, follow your purpose, do whatever it takes to be happy, to be meaningful, to contribute yourself more meaningfully to this world. And yeah, because there is only one life.
Exactly. Wow. Great. Amazing. Great, Anurag. Okay, so yeah, we're out of time now, um, because of the recording also. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time. And basically, I will post this on YouTube and on LinkedIn. And just one last question. So now, because I'm trying to also create the content and also trying to basically uh, create ways for people to connect with each other, right? Because I've been connecting people for years. So right now, based on where you are, so what kind of people or things are you looking to connect with? Like in terms of, yeah, if there's certain things or certain people you like to connect with, who would those be?
Great question. I've been thinking a lot about it, because now I have to reinvent myself, as I may not be able to do all the things that I used to do in the past. So as I think about reinvention, I have to reinvent my career also, and and one of the things that I want to continue doing now, moving forward, is to tell my story effectively, so that it reaches masses, it reaches millions of people worldwide, so that it can inspire them and help them in their lives. You know, if someone needs hope, if someone needs to become more resilient, someone needs to develop more persistence, what determination, whatever it is, I want to keep telling this story to people, so that if they can find any hope in their lives to move forward, I hope I can serve that, I can give justice to that. And so I would love, for platforms where I can share the story, whether it's corporates, whether it's governments, whether it's individuals, whoever, I can coach people and I can share my story. So would love for, such opportunities where, I have a platform to share this story with the world.
Awesome. Perfect. Cool. That will be printed as well because I'm also building an AI to make connections happen between uh, the network I built throughout the years, right? Okay, Anurag, thank you so much for your time and yeah, good luck with everything. And that was yeah, great story you have and really interesting to hear you back. And yeah, it's great to have you back for sure. After what you went through, it's amazing. It's amazing to have you talking and just sharing your stories for sure.
Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate you.